At the Grand Arena, Spider-Man pulls his mask back onto his face. "Spare mask, I love ya," he mutters, regaining his composure and hoping none of the surrounding cameras have caught a glimpse of his face. Turning to Bedlam, he taunts, asking if a photographer managed to capture the good side of his face. Enraged, Bedlam swings at Spider-Man, growling that the photographers will get a better shot when he tears the mask off Spider-Man's face and throws him at them. Spider-Man quips that he'd normally enjoy taking the time to beat Bedlam up, but he just got a call that someone's in trouble and he has to help. He casually asks if Bedlam is cool with letting him go, but it's clear Bedlam is anything but. As Bedlam throws a punch, Spider-Man swiftly evades, remarking that if talking isn't gonna work, he'll have to try something else. Just then, the King in Black and Dylan Brock arrive on the scene. Together, they slam Bedlam's face into the ground with incredible force. This is what we call teamwork makes the dream work. Bedlam is stunned to see Brock standing in front of him. He's supposed to be dead. "Which Brock is that?" growls Bedlam, just as the King in Black lands a solid punch squarely in the center of his face. Dylan leaps onto the King in Black's shoulder, smirking as he taunts Bedlam. "There are a lot of Brocks," he says, "including you." Using his power, Dylan charges up for an attack, hovering mid-air for a moment before unleashing a devastating kick that slices Bedlam's neck open with sheer force. The Codex Blade still holds the power to sever symbiotes from the King in Black's hive. When they use it on Bedlam, his own substance spirals out of his control, leaving him vulnerable. Suddenly, his stomach bursts open, revealing a grotesque face emerging from within. "This won't stop me!" screeches the twisted face. The King in Black hesitates for a moment, admitting, "We've been through a lot together. I don't want to kill you, Bedlam." Dylan interjects, his tone firm and resolute. "Okay, Dad, let me do it," he says, jabbing Bedlam in the side without hesitation. For all his madness, Bedlam is still an Eddie Brock, a version of what could have been. They can't simply put him down like a rabid dog. Fortunately, they don't have to. Bedlam screams, "Die!" but is abruptly silenced as a shot tears into his core, fired by none other than Agent Anti-Venom. "Sorry, am I interrupting?" Agent Anti-Venom says curtly before unleashing a relentless barrage of shots at Bedlam. Against a symbiote without a host, Anti-Venom's attacks prove devastatingly effective. Within moments, Bedlam succumbs to his demise. Spider-Man greets Flash, saying it's good to see him again. However, there's no time for small talk. "I'd love to chat, but I've gotta go," he says, shooting a web and swinging away towards his destination. Agent Anti-Venom watches him leave, suddenly realizing he forgot to warn Spider-Man about the hordes of zombiotes flooding the streets. The King in Black turns to Agent Anti-Venom, visibly furious. "The hell are those zombiotes?" he demands, his voice dripping with frustration. He's sick of dealing with them. Suddenly, the zombiotes crash through the windows and burst through every entrance. The fighters immediately brace themselves for the oncoming attack. These zombiotes are grotesque creatures, corpses wrapped in mindless symbiotes, dead hosts fused with lifeless clintars, yet disturbingly mobile and ravenously hungry. They're also laced with a modified version of the K chemical designed to sever their connection to the hive of all Kings in Black, save for one. As they battle the relentless swarm, the King in Black pieces together the truth. "Lee Prince," he says out loud, recognizing the handiwork of the long-dead scumbag who once got his hands on a symbiote. Though Lee Prince is no longer alive, a space vampire turned him into a zombie familiar before Meridius got his gooey hands on him. While throwing a crushing punch at a zombiote, the King in Black remarks, "This is really starting to feel like an old reunion for Venom hosts." As Dylan slices a symbiote apart with precision, he turns to his father and says pointedly, "Meridius is you, Dad. Of course he's you." At Alchemax HQ, Meridius stands in front of shattered glass, gazing down at the destruction he has wrought. He mutters to himself, noting that his zombiotes have reached the Grand Guardian Arena where both Venoms were waiting. His anger flares upon hearing that the Anti-Venom can disrupt the zombiotes. Meanwhile, mistrust brews between him and Carnage, who continues to provoke and egg him on. As the trio wades through the endless heaps of zombiotes, Agent Anti-Venom is asked if these people can still be saved. He explains that the living ones can be saved, but they're far more challenging to deal with than the dead ones. Even without minds, these zombiotes know how to fight. The zombiotes can take on anyone except Meridius, Dylan's dad. The King in Black says apologetically, "I'm not gonna be like Meridius," he promises. Dylan, mid-attack, glances at his father and replies, "Maybe you need to be a little bit like Meridius right now. Both of you are Kings in Black, but he's the one controlling the zombiotes." An idea forms in Dylan's mind, and it spreads to everyone. For it to work, however, Agent Anti-Venom must survive, because if he stays with Eddie, he might not make it. The King in Black merges himself with Eddie's white blood cells, and even later, Anti-Venom becomes a part of Eddie's body. As the King in Black, Eddie now controls everything that belongs to him, whether symbiote or flesh. With this newfound power, Eddie begins the real work. Eddie locks in and floats mid-air, his thoughts focused and sharp. All the symbiotes still under the King in Black's rule are now being touched by Anti-Venom, freeing the living and allowing the dead to rest. Yet Eddie remains cautious. He knows Meridius was the absent throne master of the Garden of Time, a schemer with plans upon plans nested within plans. But did he plan for this? Carnage isn't too happy about it, nor is Meridius. Carnage tries to convince Meridius to join forces, but Meridius couldn't care less. Instead, he snatches Carnage's spear and readies himself. Meridius believes he is far beyond salvation, and with this act, he vows to bring the heavens down with him. As Eddie screams in agony, Dylan instinctively understands that this is Carnage's doing. He tells his dad, "You have to fight the urge." Eddie, his expression darkening, responds with a sinister grin. "Yes, fight. Fight, everybody." The infection spreads quickly, a twisted blend of black, white, and blood, like poison seeping into the heart of the hive. If this corruption takes full hold, it could end universes, and time is running out. "Dad, stop, please. You have to stop." Dylan yells desperately, trying to pull his father back from the brink of his inevitable fate. "I'm so sorry," Dylan whispers, realizing the painful truth. This was always how it would end. The Venom War could only conclude with the death of the King in Black. With no other choice, Dylan launches an attack on his own father. The King in Black is dead, stabbed in the back by his own son to save everything. The man Eddie Brock still lives. The blow misses his heart physically, at least. But some wounds can never heal. The Codex Blade severs symbiotes from the King in Black's hive. Eddie is a human symbiote, but cut off from his own hive. He loses his power. He is only human. The King in Black is dead. Long live the King in Black. He enters like a fallen angel, crashing through the gates of heaven. Meridius, the gallant Eddie Brock from a fallen future, armed with all blood, the Necrospear. Meridius floats above the duo and says he thought he felt a disturbance in the Force. He tells Eddie he needs his other self back and needs what Eddie has learned for the next generation of symbiotes, the ones that will remake this world in Meridius' image. To convince Eddie, Meridius says he just needs a little touch of the Necrospear to get him on board. He tells Dylan to get out of the way. We look damnation in the face as Dylan freezes and time slows to a crawl. The Necrospear flies. Who will save them? Toxin screams, but he can't reach Venom. He can't even save himself. He won't save the rest of them. Bedlam is unresponsive matter. Venom wonders if the pain is making him stronger. Flash has already turned into a red engine of death. He can't save them either. Eddie tries to stand, ready to take the spear for the rest of them, but he has lost too much blood. He won't save them because nothing can. Nothing can stop the spear. But something gets there first. Out of the corner, a man out of time reaches the moment he has spent his lifetime waiting for. Agony is shot at Dylan's back, and a large boom echoes. He has 2 magic bullets, and Dylan only needs 1. one. A hard punch in the back, a sword through the heart. Dylan screams, and in his mind, there are flashes of the old man's memories, every deal he made with every devil, past, present, and future. Gold erupts from his skin, coating and changing him. It all happens in less than a second. He makes himself a weapon, and he only needs one golden bullet, and they are it. The spear tries to attack Dylan, but it can't. It falls to the ground. "Our turn," says Dylan, who is fused with Venom. The gold resists the red, and more than that, the duo feels it on the deepest levels of their being. It burns the red away. Venom launches towards the absent throne, who is taken aback to see this. Meridius is held by the throat by Venom. "It's called a choke slam," says Venom as he slams Meridius' head onto the ground. Meridius is powerless before them. He tries to reason with Dylan, changing his face to Eddie's, which makes Dylan hesitate. Dylan and Venom make a mistake. They get kicked right in the jaw. Meridius attacks Venom, punching him directly in the face and sending him crashing to the ground. "I'm evolved," says Meridius. He admits he hates Eddie, but claims he was always within him. Eddie tries to stop Meridius, but fails as he slips out of his grasp. Meridius tells Eddie he is just a human and can't do anything. Eddie responds that Meridius hasn't evolved. He has only lost his humanity, his heart, and his soul for nothing. Eddie is dying on his feet, but he stays standing as long as it takes to buy one last chance. Venom locks in with his weapon in hand, chains securing it in place. Meridius smashes through Eddie's ribs and commands the symbiotes to drag him out and show him the new world. He wants to see the pain on Eddie's face. The symbiotes rush towards Eddie like locusts, but Venom can't think about anything else right now. Not about where they're taking Eddie. Not after Eddie gave him a golden opportunity. A stern voice calls out for Meridius. It's Venom. Venom leaps into the air and uses his weapon to puncture a hole straight through Meridius' core. Eddie distracts Meridius, and they got his weapon, the one he gave it all away for. The Necrospear, a thing of carnage, but Agony reverses it, making the spear theirs as they drive it right through Meridius' heart. Venom feels Meridius' dying scream at the edge of their connection as it echoes through everything Meridius touches. His special roster, his symbiote Frankensteins, his symbiotes. The mindless ones die with him, and they fall across the city. All across the world, they return to the source. Every symbiote bonded to a human ceases to function, melting into inert symbiote matter. The war is over, but Venom and Dylan are not done yet. Dylan speaks through Venom, a born leader, and Venom is so proud of him. Dylan speaks out and tells the others they need to find his dad and heal him. Now that the anti-Venom is back, Anti-Agent can handle the healing part. As Old Man Venom deteriorates, he tells Dylan it all started when he beat Meridius tonight, when he took Venom back. But now, that won't happen. He fixed it. Now, he can rest. He apologizes to Dylan before he leaves and tells him the bullet has his name on it. A terrible understanding dawns. When matter and antimatter meet, they annihilate themselves and everything around them. When Carnage meets the anti-Carnage, they do the same. Dylan is part symbiote too. Venom injects him before the contagion reaches him, but Flash, Sleeper, and Toxin are here. Eddie is out there. Maybe they can help him if there's enough time. As Venom melts, he tells Dylan that he loves him and shoots out of the window. The men shoot at him and Dylan tries to stop him, but they misunderstand the situation, thinking he is hysterical because Venom injured him. Eddie is bleeding to death in a church and Carnage walks in. "Eddie, you're dying. I'm dying. What choice do we have? I'll even let you set the terms. Come on, what do you say? Can the two of us make a deal?" says the cunning Carnage.